We are kicking things off with massive news straight out of the paddock. Alex Marquez has successfully undergone surgery for a fracture of his right clavicle after a terrifying crash at the MotoGP Catalan Grand Prix, and he is set to leave the hospital later this afternoon after a successful operation performed by Ana Carreras, David Benito, and Paula Barragan. We dive deep into everything that happened leading up to this major event and what it means for the race ahead. Next up, and the significant shifts in the competitive order, including how Aprilia and Ducati fought for the top honors. Finally, we get the full breakdown of the controversy, as Raul Fernandez pins blame on Jorge Martin after the clash. Fernandez insists the data proves his innocence in the controversial incident, and we look at the tense exchanges between Aprilia Racing CEO Massimo Rivola and team principal David Brivio following the event. Don't miss the rest of the story. Stay with us for more MotoGP news. Alex Marquez is set to leave the hospital today following surgery to address injuries sustained in a dramatic crash at the MotoGP Catalan Grand Prix. The incident occurred on lap 12 of the race at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, when Marquez was involved in a collision with KTM rider Pedro Acosta. The chain of events began when Acosta's bike suffered an electrical issue exiting turn 9, causing him to lose power on the back straight, which left Marquez unable to react in time to avoid hitting the bike ahead. Marquez swerved left of the circuit, leading to a violent incident that required immediate medical attention. During the crash, Marquez suffered multiple fractures. Following initial checks in the hospital, he underwent surgery to stabilize his injuries. Gresini team boss Michele Massini confirmed the operation was a success, stating that Marquez is expected to leave the hospital later that afternoon to return home. The team's social media confirmed that Marquez successfully underwent surgery last night for a fracture of his right clavicle, which was stabilized with the insertion of a plate. Massini expressed relief, noting that Marquez's humor was a positive sign during a recent video call and that the surgery went well. He indicated that Marquez will receive further examinations starting the following day, but no specific recovery timeline was provided, with the next major event being the Italian Grand Prix in 2 weeks. Marquez's injury comes amidst other recent incidents involving his family. His elder brother, Marc Marquez, also recently required surgery for a fractured foot following a crash at the French Grand Prix, and he has a history of shoulder issues. The Catalan Grand Prix itself was restarted after the initial Marc/Acosta collision, though it was red-flagged again due to a subsequent collision involving Johann Zarco, Luca Marini, and Pecco Bagnaia at turn 1. Reports indicated that Zarco sustained injuries to his anterior and posterior cruciate ligaments, as well as a small fibula tear in his ankle area, though he had initially described the incident as more a scare than harm. Meanwhile, VR46 rider Fabio Di Giannantonio was struck by debris from the Marquez/Acosta crash, but managed to win the Grand Prix after the race was restarted. However, Di Giannantonio is sidelined for Monday's test at Barcelona due to an injury to his hand sustained during the crash. The MotoGP in-season test in Barcelona is taking place with a significantly depleted field, featuring only 19 riders on track on Monday morning following a crash-filled Catalan Grand Prix. Several key competitors have been forced to withdraw due to injuries sustained during the race weekend. Alex Marquez and Johann Zarco are skipping the test after suffering fractures in Sunday's event and are recovering in the hospital. Adding to the absences, VR46 announced that Catalan Grand Prix winner Fabio Di Giannantonio will also sit out the session to concentrate on his recovery ahead of the next Grand Prix in Mugello on May 31st. Di Giannantonio's exit followed a collision involving Marquez and Pedro Acosta, where he was struck by an errant wheel from a Gresini Ducati at turn 10. Despite the incident, the Italian managed to return to the pits and secure a restart, ultimately passing Acosta with 3 laps remaining to claim his second career MotoGP victory. The extent of the injuries for Marquez and Zarco remains unclear. Marquez suffered a broken right collarbone and a small vertebral fracture following a heavy impact, which was treated on Sunday night. Zarco's leg became entangled in Francesco Bagnaya's Ducati during the first restart, leading to a second red flag. Scans revealed knee and ankle injuries for Zarco. Marc Marquez is the 4th rider to miss the Barcelona test, having broken his foot during the French Grand Prix weekend. The factory Ducati rider is currently recovering at home after undergoing surgery for both his broken foot and a damaged right shoulder, with his return to the Italian GP uncertain. With the Marquez brothers and Di Giannantonio sidelined, Ducati is reduced to just 3 riders in the Barcelona test: Francesco Bagnaia on the factory team, Franco Morbidelli of VR46, and Fermin Aldiger of Gresini. Honda is also missing Zarco's experience, as the RCV is being tested by factory duo Luca Marini and Joan Mir, alongside LCR rookie Diogo Moreira. KTM is reportedly back to full strength following Maverick Vinales' return in the Catalan GP, and all 4 Aprilia riders are participating. Yamaha is the only manufacturer fielding a test rider on Monday, with Augusto Fernandez back on track as a wildcard. This Barcelona test serves as the final official in-season test of the year, providing manufacturers a crucial opportunity to implement further developments on their 2026 bikes before shifting focus to the next regulatory cycle. Tire tests are scheduled for Brno in June and the Red Bull Ring in September, specifically targeting the upcoming 2027 regulations. The confirmed participants for the test include Ducati riders Bagnaia, Morbidelli, and Aldiger, Aprilia riders Martin and Bezzecchi, Honda riders Mir and Marini, and KTM riders Acosta and Binder. Yamaha features Quartararo and Rins, while the only test rider is Fernandez. MotoGP's recent Catalan Grand Prix delivered a mix of on-track incidents and significant strategic takeaways for the championship. The race concluded with both Alex Marquez and Johann Zarco sustaining fractures in separate accidents. Marquez was injured after colliding with Pedro Acosta's KTM exiting turn 9, while Zarco was involved in an incident with Francesco Bagnaia's Ducati during the first restart. The event also saw a shift in the competitive landscape, with the self-destruction of the Aprilia bike allowing both Ducati and KTM to vie for the top positions. Experts have distilled 5 key lessons from the Catalan GP. Firstly, while MotoGP has advanced in managing major accidents, the repeated restarts caused mental strain, with some riders acknowledging the toll of watching colleagues hospitalized. The necessity of restarting the race sequence multiple times, including involving riders like Pedro Acosta and Johann Zarco in the first restart after debris from Alex Marquez's bike, highlighted ongoing safety concerns regarding start procedures. Secondly, the safety of riders remains paramount, suggesting a critical need to revamp the Safety Commission. With 19 out of 22 riders feeling current meetings are unproductive, a permanent solution is required to maintain high participation. A collaborative effort between riders, teams, the FIM, and MotoGP is essential to prevent future incidents. Thirdly, Fabio Di Giannantonio solidified his title credentials by securing a second MotoGP victory, positioning him as Ducati's key contender for the European leg, especially with Marc Marquez struggling early in the season. However, his performance indicated room for improvement against top rivals. Fourthly, Marco Bezzecchi's title challenge appeared vulnerable in Barcelona. Despite the Aprilia RSGP showing pace in the Catalan GP, Bezzecchi struggled to match rivals' improvements, with a mistake at turn 10 further damaging his prospects. Finally, internal friction within the Aprilia team proved detrimental. The crash between Jorge Martin and Raul Fernandez at the first restart was a significant setback, exacerbated by visible tensions between the riders and management, indicating that infighting and performance drops have left the teams struggling in Barcelona. Raul Fernandez has firmly placed the blame for a controversial incident during the Catalan MotoGP race on his rival, Jorge Martin, asserting that telemetry data supports his account. Fernandez claims Martin made 2 corners during the clash between the Aprilia bikes. The incident occurred when Fernandez attempted an inside overtake on Martin at turn 5. Fernandez stated that he had good speed entering turn 5 and was attempting to pass, but Martin braked too early, causing them to touch and both end up on the gravel. Fernandez recounted the sequence, noting that he saw Martin release the brake and re-enter the corner after realizing Fernandez was attempting the overtake. He stressed that he did not enter the corner with excessive speed and was in his line, but that Martin's maneuver caused the collision. "We have the data, and I saw clearly that he made 2 corners in the moment that I was overtaking him," Fernandez stated, emphasizing the evidence supporting his claim. Despite the disagreement, the FIM MotoGP stewards reviewed the incident and determined that no further action was necessary. Aprilia Racing CEO Massimo Rivola was observed engaging in tense discussions with Davide Brivio following the event, highlighting the existing rivalry between title contenders Marco Bezzecchi and Jorge Martin. Jorge Martin reacted angrily upon returning to the Aprilia garage and declined to offer public comment on the incident. Following the race, Marco Bezzecchi inherited 4th place after post-race tire pressure penalties, extending his championship lead to 15 points, while Martin also suffered a second non-score of the weekend after a sprint crash.